the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find myself. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find God, I find myself. Still my mind, be at peace in my awakening. I release with my heart. Free my soul in my awakening. I am home. Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti. Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti. As I love and as I give in my awakening, I choose to live. Give me strength, shine your light in my awakening. Be with me tonight.
Good morning, Napa Valley. So good to see everybody this morning. Happy Sunday. I'm Reverend Jay Lang, the spiritual director here. So good to have you here. It feels like we had one event yesterday and it's just continued on today. So about a 18-hour period that we're celebrating Georgia Davis's graduation. So we're continuing to celebrate that. And celebrating life itself. And part of that, we're going to welcome back Calvin Johnson for some beautiful, soulful music this morning. So we'll open with his song here.
What you'll see up on the board is the chorus for this. And you'll know when to sing it. It'll be very evident. To be humble, to be kind, it is the giving of the peace of your mind. To a stranger, to a friend, to give in such a way that has no end. We are love, we are one. We are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war. We are how we treat each other and nothing more. Let's do that again. We are love, we are one. We are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war. We are how we treat each other and nothing more. To be bold, to be brave, it is the thinking that the heart can still be saved. And the darkness can come quick. The danger in the anger is the hanging on to it. We are one, love, we are one. We are how we treat each other and night is done. We are lungs, we are war. We are how we treat each other and nothing more. And tell me what it is that you see. A world that's full of endless possibilities. And heroes don't look like they used to. They look like you do. I get to go. Here we go. We are love. We are one. We are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace. We are war. We are how we treat each other and nothing more. We are how we treat each other and nothing more. We are how we treat each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Calvin. Beautiful start. Always good to have you here in our community. Oh, so good. So we like to begin our service with our vision and mission statement. If you'll look up on the screen and read with me. We are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission statement, we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. A glorious affirmation that was definitely showing its colors yesterday during our graduation ceremony, and also in this being Pride Month. I appreciate that our natural spirituality expresses in diverse ways if we're willing to allow it to be. It's just a natural part that I spent Thursday and Friday with ministerial students who are not yet graduating. They are moving towards graduation. And we did a whole retreat on chakras, and we had bracelets with the different chakra colors on it. And that's part of our expression of our wholeness, is the variety of ways we show up, as well as when we're authentic. We also know that diversity is natural. So we embrace all faiths, cultures, races, gender identities, and orientations here at the center. And so we're definitely celebrating Pride this month. And the joy that we have for our LGBTQ friends and family members, the joy we have for them, it saves lives. It goes beyond Pride, that we as allies or as members of the LGBTQ community, we know that this joy, this magnificence that each person is, we celebrate today. So we just want to continue being a part of that this month and all months. And there's a number of events going on in Napa. As both the City Council and the County Board of Supervisors did a proclamation declaring it to be Pride Month. And also there's different events, including, I don't know the date, I need to look at it, but there's a drag queen bingo at one of the local places. I mean, how can you not go to that, right? So, kind of fun. I think it's at the Garden up on First Street in the West End. So, looking at that. And also some pictures from yesterday's graduation. It was just a glorious event, beautiful out in our garden. And I kept saying, Georgia, you know, it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. We got to be inside. And she goes, no, we're going to be outside. We're going to be outside. I said, okay, yay. Beautiful, Georgia. We created it. It turned out perfect. Perfect weather. It's even a little warm today. So, you know, we're back inside. It was a glorious reception, too. I appreciate all of the volunteers that helped created the reception. Carla brought muffins, and Mark and Erica, who brought the water and this cake, and all the people that prepared the bowls and everything, the skewers and everything. Mary's not in here right now, I don't think, but you know, everybody that was doing things. If you helped with the reception yesterday, could you just, let's just stand up if you were part of the reception yesterday and you did something. No? Johanna, you can come on up a little bit. Let's thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. Thank you. And then also we had Napa Can-Do Bag Week. So I appreciate everybody who participated in that. I did get the Napa Can-Do newsletter. So we're just one of about 40 neighborhoods across the city. We call ourselves a neighborhood because we're a community, but most of them are done off front porches, collecting these bags. And over the past 10 years, they've collected 473,350 pounds of fresh and non-perishable food. And this includes not only the green bags, but gleaning from people's gardens. It actually started with a garden. That very first year, they collected eight volunteers donated 852 pounds of produce that year. And they're continuing to do gardens from people's personal gardens, and as well as collecting food from restaurants that they would normally throw away, and getting that to the food bank. And the food bank, by the way, if you know somebody or yourself needing a distribution from the food bank, it's no longer on Yohome. It's down in Corporate Center at the big center for the Napa Food Bank. Yes.
St. John's Lutheran Mission Farm is the largest donor of fresh produce to the food bank, only
Right.
second to the USDA.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's over on Linda Vista, and I drive by it frequently. Always looking for volunteers, right?
St. John's Lutheran Mission Farm, so it's at the St. John's Lutheran Church at Linda Vista.
Called Linda Vista and Redwood, right in that area. So.
3 days a week, and they're all like in their 70s and older, and amazing people, and they
So our online people couldn't hear all that, so let me repeat what what she said is that St. John's Lutherans on Linda Vista and Redwood has a huge garden, beautiful garden, and they grow this, as far as fresh produce that goes to the Napa Food Bank, only the USDA gives more produce to the food bank than they do. And it's an organization. I have somebody in my neighborhood is part of that, and so that we are always talking about how tremendous that is and how much they produce. So it's definitely a community effort that's beating food insecurity here in the Valley. Nobody needs to go hungry at all. These are available to anybody, and anybody you know. And you don't have to be, like starving. You can just be a little short of food each month and go to the food bank and pick up supplies to supplement because inflation has increased the prices of food. We all know that. It's gone to the grocery store. It's affected people who are wage earners. So feel free to be part of it yourself. There's no, you don't have to give a tax return or anything. You just have to fill out a basic form, and they'll load you up each month. So if you know somebody or if you have a need yourself, it's an important use, and we're glad to be a part of that. We changed the date of our summer solstice ritual. It's important to note. It's now June 19th. That's Wednesday. We, for different reasons, competing events that are going on here, but that's actually the day before the longest day of the year. So it's in that portal to come, and we're still going to be, and we wanted to do it outside. We didn't want to do it inside. Summer solstice needs to be outside. And so we're going to be celebrating there and having a little dancing, a little ritual, and just be outside in that beauty that's our courtyard on summer solstice there. Official is on the 20th in the afternoon, so that's a perfect time. So Wednesday, June 19th. And we'll have meditation that night, just regular, but then it'll be after the meditation, because meditation's at 6, and then that. And then also some excitement about, not only have we figured out that we scheduled Diego Garcia for June 29th. I've been telling you about that, a free comer. But we've also scheduled the rest of the summer concert series. So June 29th is Diego Garcia. It's July 20th, Sarah Rodenberg and Beyond Fab. Now, I don't know if you know either one of those. I've heard both of them, and Sarah is a singer-songwriter. Beyond Fab sings the Beatles music after the Beatles. So, and they're great singers. So in other words, Wings, John Lennon, George Harrison, so it's Beyond Fab, beyond the Fab Four, right? So they'll be great. And then August 17th, blues legend Alvin Johnson. Now, that's no relation to you, but that's your brother's name. Yeah. But it's not the same one, right? Is he a blues singer? No, okay. Well, I guess it's his twin, your other twin. And then September 14th, Shauna Marshall and her band Nuclear Blonde are going to be there. So a whole series event. It's all going to be outdoors. Bring your picnic. Bring friends. It's free and open to everybody. It's a sort of we're billing it as a replacement for Porch Fest, because there's not going to be a Porch Fest. So Porch Fest alternative. No Porch Fest this year. Long story. We are going to. And then on July 27th, in between all that, an important event coming on is Crush MS. And Karen, could you just stand and just let people know who you are? So she will be, she will have that clipboard in hand, right? And that clipboard means she's going to ask you to be part of Crush MS. And it's an important part of our community service here, of things we do at our center, is being involved in that fundraising. We're at an event where we heard updates that the money that is raising is making a difference in not only slowing the progress of MS, but actually stopping it, preventing it. So real exciting scientific discoveries going on now, and we want to continue to support that. So I appreciate everybody being involved in that. Save the date for July 27th. Okay. And then we continue to have meditation on Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. That's every week. As we go into sacred time, I just want to let you know that we've had some losses in our community. A young man named Alan Millimacki, who was the son of Connie Millimacki, died in a motorcycle accident last week. We had another family member lose one off in terms of not part of this community, but she definitely is part of this community. So we hold all in the sacredness of prayer, just knowing that family and friends are held in a blanket of love, if you want to think that they're through their grief time, as well as the one who's passed. We know that they're in a place of peace and love and with spirit, for we know spirit is in all things, in all life. So as we go into this time of meditation.
You are a part of it, and I am a part of it. Magic happens everywhere. Take a breath, you'll find it there. You are a part of it, and I am a part of it. Magic happens everywhere. Take a breath, take a breath. Revolving tide, creating life. You are the one, I am the one. Evolving mind, healing life. You are the one, we are one. You are a part of it, and I am a part of it. Magic happens everywhere. Take a breath, you'll find it there. You are a part of it, and I am a part of it. Magic happens everywhere. Take a breath, take a breath. Revolving tide, creating life. You are the one, I am the one. Evolving mind, healing life. You are the one, we are one. You are a part of it, and I am a part of it. Magic happens everywhere. Take a breath, you'll find it there.
So just take a deep breath in and letting it go. That you are one. I am one. We are one. For there is only one. One that is the river that flows through our soul, that is our soul, that connects with all life, all energy. As we open up our heart and our soul to a new way, a way of peace, a way of love, a way of surrendering to something greater than we are. I know wherever you are, wherever I am, God is. That's opening to you as a whole, all that you may be feeling, all of your concerns and worries, your prayers. They're all held within the consciousness of the one. And I know that Spirit moves through you and guides you, protects you, and is you. Is us. The Spirit is moving and creating through each of us as us. For I know that is the nature of Spirit, the nature of life itself, the nature of the universe. And for this we're so grateful today. And so it is. Hang on just a minute, Calvin. We're going to let. So I want to invite Georgia Davis up here. Already?
I wasn't ready already.
Well, you got to be ready. You got to be. If you're going to be a minister, you got to be ready on a moment's notice, right?
I learned that a long time ago.
So, Georgia is a graduate from her study. She is not yet the minister, but you're really darn close.
So
The
close.
one thing that's left that she has to do, she's finished all her courses, done all of her internships, passed all of her exams. The only thing left is one oral panel, just like our practitioners had to go through an oral panel. But you know what's great about this oral panel is it doesn't assess any knowledge. It wants to know if she has the consciousness to be a minister. What do you guys think?
Thank you.
So here's Georgia Davis.
Thank you, Reverend Jay. Is my mic on? Is it on enough? You can hear me out there? Okay, great. So I'm moving in. I'm bringing all my stuff with me. No. I brought some of what I received yesterday at my graduation because I thought it was so sweet. I had many gifts that were so unexpected. But I'm going to read you each and every card. No, I'm not going to do that either. But here's my hat, if you missed it. Thank you, Jay. And all of these lovely cards, and there's more. I mean, I think I have more. So amazing. And if you weren't there, my first mentor, because I consider Jay as my mentor as well, Reverend Jay, is Melissa Felipe. And through our time together, she's given me these gold stars as a student that, you know, I just really loved. My little kid goes, oh, I get a gold star. So, and my not quite diploma. So if you weren't there, you get a little bit of this. I didn't open the diploma. There's a joke. Should I read it now? Is it appropriate? The joke's on me if you're online is what Jim just said. And if you don't know Jim, he's my sweetheart, my partner, and the amazing man who is in this journey with me. Can I read it? A man approached the minister and after the sermon and thanked her for her discourse. I found it so helpful, he said. The minister replied, I hope it will not prove as helpful as the last sermon you heard me preach. This is the first time I'm reading this. Why? What do you mean? Asked the astonished man. Well, said the minister, that sermon lasted you 3 months. That's a pretty good one. I think sermons can last 3 months, but you know what? Our community brings us back, right? It brings me back. Like yesterday was so amazing, and thank you for all who helped. I know it was more than Johanna who helped in this room. I know, and Susan. Gosh, my lips are just sorry. And I really appreciate all that you did and all that you support me, even in your caring, even in your being here, even in the times that you've been here when I've spoken, in every hug, in every word. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. Thank you for all the support. It was really interesting yesterday because I said nothing of what I thought about talking about, because I have this habit of taking the moment and going, well, what's here in this moment? What does Spirit have to say through me? And that to me is interesting because thinking about, I believe it was James Millerick who passed, right? It was Alan?
Well, it's James Allen, but
He went by Alan. Someone I don't know, but I am moved to because it's such a challenge when we lose someone. And what I was thinking about is in this moment of joy and beginning again and, newness, there's always two sides to the coin. I don't think I've ever seen an actual coin that you can use that has just one side. So with every great joy and new beginning, there's an end to something else. And as I was driving home last night, I was feeling such moment of kind of being in the goo of transformation, which I've had many moments of that in this journey. And I still will probably have more, but it's that idea of I'm letting go of who I've been before. And there's a grief to that. And I think it's so important to acknowledge that, acknowledge the letting go when there's the new beginning. So, I'm so happy to have, this is my new stole, my minister's stole. And my previous stole, my practitioner's stole, is the one that was gifted to me by Melissa Felipe and Z Egloff. They don't know whose it was, but, I loved wearing that. So, just as I move into who I want to be as a minister, I let go of who I have been as a practitioner. And it's an interesting process. I'm so glad you're all here for me. There's so much love here, and yesterday was an amazing process too, because I started my infancy in the Centers for Spiritual Living, started in Madeira, California, at a time when my relationship ended with my 20-year husband. And I felt very served there in a very small community. I think even smaller than this community. And then when I went to Santa Rosa, huge community, it was great to feel so loved up and seen by the choir that I was a part of. And then to come here, to be in a small community again where I couldn't hide. Nope. And to step into this next role, it's such an honor. And that's what I mostly talked about yesterday, was that all of the things that I heard were things that I feel like I've received from the people who spoke of them. And so the things that I talked about are still true for me today, which that of being the channel for spirit. We all are. We all are a part of this oneness. So we actually are the channel for spirit constantly, whether we realize it or not. In those moments when you say thank you or give a hug or, whatever you're doing, you are spirit. And sometimes that's to me, it is such an awesome thing that I almost can't contain it. In the realization of it, it comes down my face in tears because I cannot contain it sometimes. And this is in the positive and what we think is negative. And sometimes what we think is negative is just a learning experience for somebody else or ourselves. And that was what else I mentioned, was about perfection, this idea of perfection, that we already are perfect in the mind of God, exactly as we are, because we were not made on accident. We were made on divine purpose. And in our just human minds, sometimes it's hard to accept that. But if you really think about even what it takes to make a child, just any child, every cell that has to do what it is programmed to do. Who programmed that? The universe, the allness, the everything that is wanting to come through. Exactly as each cell is meant to do, exactly as each cell coalesces into this being, exactly as this being is meant to be. So how can you be anything other than divine perfection? In everything that seems incorrect or wrong or a trip or a fall or a break, illness. Illness is a hard one to accept, but divine perfection having its way through and as each one of us as we are meant to. Because we're these beautiful human beings. And I'm so glad to be the person who gets to remember that for you, for whoever comes to me. I was having a conversation with Jim this morning about all the lovely things you said behind my back yesterday. Which I really appreciate, because even if they're not lovely things, they can be things that I can learn from. But they were all lovely things. Because to be received in the way that you mean to be received is such an amazing gift. Give your gift fully, beautifully, and freely, and see how wonderful it is to have it received that way, purely, as your love. So it was just, I can't contain it all right now, So I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to continue to be in service to this community, the larger community, and my one hope is that after I'm done with my I'm finishing that last class today. Thank you. And I'll have my panels soon. So my one hope is that I can put more of the energy that I've put into classes into this community, in our community at large. Because as you heard me say today, let's really not just sell it. Let's sell the idea that this is a great place to be. That's a good thing. A good thing to share with people and to let people know, hey, come and check us out, because we're really loving and wonderful. And, maybe you have a place here. So thank you for helping me find my place here. And blessings to you all.
I once heard a powerful story about a man who stood in his truth with such conviction in who he was, he would not be moved. Someone stepped out of a crowd and said, "Are you Martin Luther King?" He said, "Yes, I am." And the well-dressed man spat on him. Then King took out his handkerchief and he wiped away hate from his suit. He gave it back to the man and said, "I believe it belongs to you. I will lift you up and do what I can do. I see your heart, I know your pain. I have been there too. I will hold you high while you do what you have to do. But I am clear who is standing here. I believe this belongs to you." I once had a powerful story that I used to carry around. I thought it was you all this time who my spirit down. But now I know the truth of who I came here to be. You are my angel in disguise and not my enemy. So I thank you for the part you played in this dance we have to do. I give you back your own true love. I believe it belongs to you. I will lift you up and do what I can do. I see your heart, I know your pain. I have been there too. I will hold you high while you do what you have to do. But I am clear who is standing here. I believe this belongs to you. I will hold you high while you do what you have to do. But I am clear who is standing here. I believe this belongs to you. I give you back your freedom now. I believe it belongs to you.
Beautiful, Calvin. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we have a new theme this month of Holy Boldness, and this week is Sacred Audacity. You might think, what's going on around here? You know, didn't Jesus say that the meek shall inherit the earth? I think we start with meekness, with surrender, because it's not our own audacity, not our own boldness, but a sacred audacity that we need to allow to come through us. There's a power greater in the universe, greater than us, a power for good, and we can allow it to use us. So when we find this connection, we can have this courage and this confidence, and not from an ego, not from a small mind, but from a bigger perspective, an open perspective, a feeling like we're guided, we're aligned with Spirit. That we can do this whether it's at the start of the day or in the middle of the day, at the end of the day, whenever we feel called to have this alignment. I spend a certain amount of time in meditation every morning, but I also do check-ins during the day. I think about the spiritual connection as being like when we get in the car to drive, we pull out of the driveway, and as we're driving, we realize we forgot to put on our seatbelt, so we put on our seatbelt. So I think that's like a meditation. For me, my morning meditation is putting my seatbelt on before I get, or as I get in the car before I drive away, because it gives me a sense of centeredness, so that if I were to even get into a small accident or have to stop suddenly, I have this sense of how to respond to things, how to be in the world in this way. Or also, as we're driving, we notice our windshield is dirty. I've done this before. It's so silly. So it's really mucky. And so while I'm driving, I try and push on the wiper fluid, and my whole windshield becomes messy, right? You ever done that? It'd be better to stop and do that. But I do that as I go, and I think we do that in life too. So we feel unclear, we feel doubtful, we feel a little fear, a little anxiety. So we try and clean our windshield to clean it off, but it's a little mucky. Maybe we just stop for a moment first. And so and from there we can have this sacred audacity I'm talking about. And I think one key factor of this sacred audacity is to have inner courage. So I am unstoppable courage from our inner power, an open heart that we have, a fire in the belly that we have. It's interesting because on, what is today? This has been a long week already. So I did the retreat with the students. I had class on Thursday night, retreat with the students, graduation, and then Sunday. So on Thursday morning, before all that began, I was feeling really low energy. And I still had some things to do to prepare. And I just noticed I was observing my low energy, and I took time to check in. And I realized there was some anxiety about coming up. But what I was doing was suppressing it because I couldn't deal with that. I didn't have time to deal with that anxiety. I was just going to move forward. But just like I realized that when we try and suppress our emotions, that it takes energy to do that, like a beach ball, right? That you're trying to keep underwater. It's hard to keep underwater, right? So it takes energy to suppress. It takes energy away from us. When I realized there was anxiety there, I just let it come up and notice it. I realigned myself, and I continued. I was able to, by observing it, and at first I was still in that little lower energy, but as I realized, gained some confidence and some audacity, I guess, I don't know, but definitely courage to move through things, that things flowed, and all the things I needed to do were in perfect and divine order. The whole weekend, all things were in perfect and divine order. And today, they are in perfect and divine order. But if I'd kept suppressing things, they would not have been. They would have all fallen apart in so many ways. And all the energy I had for these events would have been taken up by trying to keep that beach ball below the water. So we have this courage to be willing to feel our feelings even when they are uncomfortable, even when they are sadness, even when they're things that don't have solutions. There's a lot of things in our lives that are feelings that don't have solutions. And we need to feel them all the way, fully and willingly. Even if it's while we're still driving in the car, we need to keep feeling them. We don't have to stop everything, but stop occasionally and check in with yourself. And this is about how we tap into our spiritual connection to get aligned. This week, in this week's email, I sent out a note about have you ever been clapping to a song with a group or a community and suddenly you lose the rhythm of the song? And Michelle reads my emails before I send them out, just kind of make sure, because sometimes I don't know if they make any sense or not, so she kind of lets me know if they make any sense. And her first answer was, no, I never lose rhythm. I go, what? I always do. So I guess there are people in this world that don't lose rhythm, right? Well, I do. But she said, however, I get your metaphor. And in life, I do feel out of rhythm sometimes. That we all feel out of rhythm. I was trying to use that but not all people do that, but all people have this sense that you're off beat. And when I'll speak for myself because I do get off beat. I don't hear it sometimes. When I lose the beat, sometimes I'll keep clapping. I go, no. I need to stop, regain the rhythm, get the sense in my body, and then I can get back, sometimes mimicking people around me. But the most part, I feel it within. And that's true of our life too. We just need to stop, even if it's just for a moment, and reconnect with that inner self, that understanding within us. I was listening to a TED Talk by a man named Yogi Mingyur Rinpoche. He's a Buddhist meditation teacher, and he was talking about meditation. He says the essence of meditation is awareness, it's being present. And in the video, he said, can you see my hand? So I'll say it as if I'm saying it. Can you see my hand? Can you hear my voice? Yes. That's meditation. Because you had lost all other thoughts and were focused on my hand and my thought. It's not any magic like getting rid of all your thoughts, because that's not possible to do. And Rinpoche says this too. He says, to think of nothing is impossible, but the more we try and think of nothing, the more we think, right? Like if I said, don't think about pizza. Whatever you do, don't think about pizza. What are you thinking about? Pizza. Yeah. So instead, just slow down things and just allow what is to be. And if there's a thought, just don't follow it necessarily. There's a thought, and just notice it. And he said the other thing that a myth about meditation is that we sit down or we breathe so we can feel peace, joy, so we can relax. But it's almost like we sit down, okay, I'm going to relax. I'm going to feel peace. I'm going to do this. He said that also, the more we look for it, the more we try and find it, the more it runs away, he says. Instead, just sit down and be, and the peace comes naturally. It is there. And his big point, and my big point today about that awareness, is just to be in this place. Don't try to do anything. Just be and allow this sense of peace to be there. And some days, and I'll be honest, some days it's harder to find than others. Sometimes my thoughts are busier than others. I try and do it in the morning when there's less thoughts there, but I check into with myself through the day, just an awareness. Call it what you want to. Contemplation, breathing, awareness. It's also easy to find in nature because you can focus on a tree that's right above us here, or a flower, or a stream. There's less distractions in that way. But there also, I hope all of you have a place or a couple places in your home, in your backyard, where there's a sense of peace there, where you know that's a place you sit. You can put altar items beside it, or just to have a place that you regular, and it's a place that you can remove yourself a little bit from other people in your house or from distractions. And it's a good place to be, and just to regain that alignment with Spirit. And the last thing I was going to talk about today is in this sacred audacity is to be persistent and patient. Now you might think persistent and patient, aren't those against each other in a way? Because if we're really driving, if we're persistent, how do we be patient? Because we really, really want this in our lives, to create a life of our choosing, a life with space and peace and joy and love and abundance of prosperity that we want to create. And so we're driving towards it, and yet it doesn't happen exactly in the way we think it should or when we want it to happen. And that's where the patience comes in. So we have this inner fire, this inner courage, but we're not forcing it. It's the same thing as that Rinpoche was talking about, was wanting this peace, this clarity. The more we push towards it, the more it's going to run away. So we declare our intentions for peace, for love, for joy, and then for healing. And we allow it. We know it is there, and we allow the patience. And in that way, we're making a difference in the world. I heard a great story this week about Thurgood Marshall, who, before he was a Supreme Court justice, he was a civil rights attorney. I remember he was involved, reading the history books with Brown versus the Board of Education. But I thought he was a Supreme Court justice then. He wasn't. He was a civil rights attorney that argued for equal rights for all children, and he argued before the court that black students and white students were not equal. The schools they went to were not equal. And unless they were integrated, it was a violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. He argued that in 1953. And the Supreme Court decided not to make a decision. They delayed that decision. And historically, we find out later there was disagreement about that, a lot of controversy about that. We'll come to find out at the end of 53, one of the Supreme Court justices died. And in his place, Earl Warren was appointed as one of the Supreme Court justices. And in 1954, it was passed as a rule of the law that schools need to be integrated in order to create equality. What's interesting about that is that Thurgood Marshall, there was a celebration that night after the Supreme Court justices made that decision. And he was still the civil rights attorney, and he was there. Of course, he was the attorney that argued in front of the court, and of course he was happy and celebrated, but he left early that evening, and someone stopped him as he was leaving, and they said, well, we won, how come you don't want to stay? He goes, our fight still continues. We've just begun. And so here's a man that won this great victory, and yet he knew he had to have the patience for it to work, to continue. And he was right, because it took more than 15 years into the early 70s before schools were integrated. My Texas was one of the last ones to do that, along with several southern states. There was literally fights to bring that back. But during that time, there was so much that happened. Other civil rights legislation that happened, marches, Martin Luther King, the marches that happened, and all those things prepared the way that finally there was nothing left to do but to integrate the schools. We continue to work for the rights of all people, of women, of LGBTQ, people of color. And I want to give you, I try not to get too political, but I just want to step into this a little bit. And that's there's a movement in our nation right now that's labeled as Christian nationalism. And it is not Christian necessarily. There are Christians involved in it, but it's really a cover for a white nationalist movement. I'm just going to call it out for what it is. It's a lot of people that are afraid of losing their power, primarily white people, because white people are becoming a less and less a majority. And in fact, so I think it's about 55% white people in the United States now, but if you count straight white people, they're not a majority. So and so it's not anti-Christian to stand against Christian nationalism. It's for us it's actually anti-racism to stand against Christian nationalism. And there's a new movie out called Bad Faith that we're going to be showing here in July. And also in early fall, there's going to be a collaboration of Congregation Beth Shalom, Crosswalk Community Church, and us to show one in a public venue as well. We're still looking at the dates on that. I'll be able to announce a date for when we're going to show it here next week. But it's an important movie to watch because and you can also stream it. You can do it today if you want to. Bad Faith, it's called. But it exposes what the Christian nationalist is. And I think that's important to do. And what I know is that we continue to do our personal work in this way. That diversity is a natural aspect of who we are. And we continue to walk this talk to advocate, to call it out, and be with that, because it is spirit in us. A lot of the people, and I don't know them personally, but it seems like they are pushing the beach ball underwater to try and keep some semblance of power that was never there, or control that was never there. And we just need to let that ball come up and allow this equality and equity and diversity to happen, because that's the way of spirit. That's the way the Spirit opens up in us, and it opens us up in new experiences as well, so we can experience healing and wholeness and creativity and joy and peace. If we're keeping that beach ball down, we're not doing that. We're closing off our heart. So to open up our heart for times of reconciliation and forgiveness and understanding and empathy. That's the nature of the open heart. That's the nature of Spirit moving through us in that way. And that is something to celebrate. That is something to align with and to step out in holy boldness and sacred audacity. Let us go to prayer. So what I know in this moment is there is only God. And this Spirit in us is this clarity, this joy, this love, and it is this call to step more fully into our truth and to speak that truth and be that truth and know that we are divine in all ways, that we are sacred, and we can be bold in knowing that truth, whether it is aloud or in the way we live. And I know this is Spirit through us that is this living and doing and having our being in Spirit. And for this, I'm so, so grateful for today. The blessings that we are today and always. We declare it to be so, and so it is.
This song reminds me of this place. It reminds me of you, Reverend J. It reminds me of you. But you'll see what I mean. Excuse me. My favorite poet, or one of my favorite poets, is the man named Hafiz, the Islamic poet from the 16th or 15th century. One of the most important things he said was, "Ever since happiness heard your name, she has been running through the streets looking for you." I love you, Lord. Your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire. In darkest night, you are close like no other. I've known you as a mother. I've known you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I remember now to give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I remember now to give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God.
I guess we're trading off. Now I have to get up after that. Wow. Thank you, my friend. There's something that comes next, I'm sure. I believe this is our sharing of abundance. So this is a time when I invite the board and I invite you to be part of the law of circulation and the sharing of abundance. We appreciate donations you've given in the past, what you're giving today, what you'll give in the future to support our vision and mission. I know that it continues to support you in the law of circulation. If we could have our ushers come forward. So I also know that that which you give is a powerful spiritual practice, and we appreciate it. If you will hold your hand to your heart to represent that which you've given in the past, the present, or the future, and read the affirmation with me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate, and so it is.
I'm held in love, I'm held in peace. God is holding me with every breath, with every step. God is holding me. 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 I'm held in love. I'm held in peace. God is holding me with every breath, with every step. God is holding me. God is holding me. God is holding me. God is holding me. God is holding me.
I was talking with somebody yesterday about your music. I was looking forward to today. And I was talking to this young man, Lucian Baker, about your songs, that some of them are traditional songs that, you know, if you read the words, you would think somebody was singing about a God out there. But the consciousness, you sing it through, it's this oneness, right? Right? Yeah, so thank you. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. This time in our service, we want to acknowledge anybody who might be here for the first time. If you're willing to raise your hand, we have a gift for you. We have a wonderful community that... You've been, I know. It's great when you come with a friend, because if you want to raise your hand, they call you out, right? We welcome you today and know that we have fellowship out in the courtyard today for anybody who wants to be here. If we happen to miss you, we also have these out at the welcome table. You can get information about our center, sign up for our email list, whatever you want to do, but we acknowledge you today and thank you for being here with us. There is a affirmation that we say for you, so we raise our hands and we say, we bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community, and so it is. We could have our practitioners come up and stand up here. Come on up, Michael. Michael's back from a trip. Where were you, in Peru or somewhere? Yeah, welcome. Glad to have you back here. Michelle's back here. So if you're interested in a brief affirmative prayer after the service, please stay in your seat. And our practitioner, one of them, will be glad to give you a prayer, just knowing your wholeness and truth about everything about you. It's a wonderful way to experience the divine and to realign, to get your seatbelt on, clear your windshield, and move forward in life. So thank you. It's our honor to pray with you. If you also, there's prayer requests out in the lobby or online. We're glad to pray with you each week to do that. We gather on Tuesdays. Do we have any children? I don't see any children, so we'll move forward with that. So let's all stand for the congregational affirmation. Hang on just a minute. We'll do the congregational affirmation first. Right. Repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
I am led by Spirit.
I am led by Spirit.
I'm guided by wisdom.
I am guided by wisdom.
I am protected by love.
I am protected by love.
I am here to be a blessing.
I'm here to be a blessing.
I am so grateful.
I am so grateful.
And so it is.
And so it is. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now.
Yes. Let's go be peace. Did you have a birthday?
Welcome to the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living. We are a vibrant, inclusive, and spiritual community that seeks to live intentionally, love unconditionally, and see God in all people and in all faiths. We believe the work we do in prayer and in the community creates a world that works for all cultures, races, orientations, and faiths. For over 60 years, we have practiced thinking globally and acting locally to help awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Annually, hundreds of people actively participate in our services, classes, events, and in our Spanish-speaking ministry. And we are training the next generation of spiritual leadership in our ministerial school. In the last few years, because of apparent divisions politically and socially, and because of threats to basic human rights, we have magnified our application of Science of Mind principles with engagement and compassionate action in the greater Napa Valley community. Our members have participated in women's marches, pride events, and we have hosted speakers on racial issues. We have empowered and mentored diverse leaders in our community and given scholarships to diverse ministerial students. We have donated over 4,000 pounds of food to our local food bank. Our spiritual director, Reverend Jay Lang, has facilitated an interfaith leadership group to hold public prayer vigils and 9/11 commemorations in participation with Jews, Muslims, and Christians. We have fostered the creation of a beloved community in the larger Napa Valley area by honoring community heroes at events and tithing to and partnering with a dozen different nonprofits that share our vision. Together, we've created a Martin Luther King Day of Service where over 1,200 participated in community service annually. The leadership of our parent organization, the Centers for Spiritual Living, headquartered in Golden, Colorado, recognized our community for all of the outstanding, compassionate work we've been doing over the last few years with the 2022 Meritorious Community Award. As we move forward to do this work of the heart, to awaken the world to its spiritual magnificence, will you join us as we continue to ascend to new heights and create a world that works for everyone?